Hello, I'm Toycat, and are you curious what £450,000 will buy you in London, the capital city of the UK? That's right, $500,000 into putting property into the capital. You might think you get a lot, but what you actually get is this place. This is the shared living room kitchen. It's an open plan concept. This is the living room. This is the kitchen again. This is the bedroom. This is the bathroom. This is the hallway between them. And that was the entire place. I mean, we can look at more pictures, but they're the same rooms from different angles, as you can see right here. And this is the building which you'll be living in for the princely sum of $500,000. And honestly, I don't want to rag on this place too much, but also it's on the ground floor, so they have these frosted windows so you can't see in and out because they don't want people from the street looking in. And so you're on the ground floor in what is a relatively busy area. And also, the worst bit about this is $500,000 basically, but you don't actually live that close to any tube stations. You live 0.4 miles from Haggerston, which is actually great, but the problem with Haggerston is it's, if you look right here, this is Haggerston. It's on a line that is orbital around London, so it won't get you into the centre, and so if you actually want to go places, it's not the most central of locations, and you're in Zone 2 London, despite spending $500,000 on a one-bedroom flat, and also it's a leasehold. I mean, that's not a big deal, most apartments are. In fact, this one's really cool because this lease runs until the year 3002, so you actually are owning the right to rent this place for £250 a year in exchange for £500,000. But you also pay £3,000 a year just for the communal areas and stuff. So it's very, very expensive. That's $3,500 a year, $300 a month in rent, $300 a month in service charge, plus an extra $20-30 in rent. And that's kind of high for a place that you might think you own in a place that isn't that centrally located. In fact, I looked up this exact place because, you know what, I got kind of curious. And as you can see, this is, just from working out that, okay, it's nearby Haggerston. Haggerston's over here. You look on the map and you can find out that, okay, it's this place over here. And just to make sure you believe me on this, here is the picture from Google Street View, and here is the picture that they use in their own listing, right? So let's scroll through these. This is the place, and this is the building. So we can see the exact location that it's in, and although it's cool to I think even though it's a convenience store, having a convenience store be built into your building might be really great, but again, when you're on the ground floor, and also you've got relatively busy roads nearby, that might contribute to noise, that might contribute to maybe, this isn't the best area of London, you don't want to be on the ground floor in case some people go past. It's, it's got lots and lots of concerns for £500,000, especially you might say, Toycat, as a London person, you're saying well, it's not that close to transport, it's not that close to this, but the funny thing is if you just go out to Hull, Kingston upon Hull, another city in the UK, it's only a 3-hour journey from London. It's you can spend the same money, get a brand new house, not a lived-in apartment in a building that looks like this. You can buy a brand new house with 2 garages, because why do you even want 2 garages, honestly? But you get a 4-bedroom house with 2 garages, and it looks like this. I don't know what the square footage is in this. Will they say that? Just for fun comparison here, it's got they don't actually say the total, but it's a very, very, very big place, I think you'll agree. Whereas this is a 666 square foot. This is where the devil would live, and this is where you'd actually choose to live with that money. Why would anyone ever choose to live in London? In fact, how did prices get so inflated in certain cities? This is a question every country on the planet asks. In America, if you look at New York or LA, prices are much more expensive than when you look at the equivalent of Kingstons, the Detroits, and the, more realistically, the really rural places. How does that happen? And here is the fun answer to that question. Did you know that people earn more money and less money in different parts of the UK? This is from 2011, so it's old data in terms of earnings, but the ratios are still roughly there. In London, the average salary might be $35,000 or $39,000, whereas in Kingston upon Hull, East, it is $15,554. In other words, you earn 3 times as much money, and so if you have 3 times as much money, you can buy a house a lot easier. But the thing is, that's actually kind of a lazy way of looking at things, because especially if you actually, if you look at the ratios of earning, house prices to earnings, it looks like it just about stays in line, and from 2011, that all just about makes sense, until you see this graph where you can see that regional house prices are actually going up quite more staggeringly in London compared to everywhere else. In 2011, you can can see there was a difference between regions right over here. This is a terrible graph. I can't see the thing because it's covered with this chunky stuff right here. But if we look at this, you can see that in 2011 over here, everything was roughly about the same. But in the last decade since then, there's been a huge delta between London values and elsewhere in the country. So what is the reason for that, I hear you asking? Well, these places are more desirable to live. Is the easy, as an economist, you've got to say, well, clearly, stuff like this is more desirable than stuff like this. They have equal value. In fact, I mean, that's not quite fair because they're worth exactly the same. Let's find somewhere in Yorkshire. Okay, so this place right here, which is actually 49995, this spacious 4-bedroom home that is triple the size, plus you own the whole building. Also, it's probably a nicer area. It's safer, etc., etc. Look at this. You get a whole house for less than this. And so in economics, you could easily say this is a more desirable product than this is. This, I mean, it's a £5 difference. They could realistically sell for any amount. But this is technically a less desirable product than this one because people will pay more for this one. But why is that the case? Why would people pay more to live in a 1-bedroom apartment? And again, I almost want to joke around and be like, well, it's because people like less space. I think realistically, there is a difference in what people want. I imagine living next to this is amazing because you have a convenience store built into your thing. You have a coffee house diagonally across from you. I didn't see that on Street View, but you got a pizza place a 2-minute walk down the street. You've got a pub. These all seem like pretty good places. There's Batch Baby over here, another coffee shop. You got another pub. You got another coffee shop, another pub, another coffee shop. You got some more restaurants, and then you got a station with a little park nearby. And then there's also, by the way, you are on directly next to Rosemary Gardens. It's even though I say the area isn't great, in reality, the area is really great if you want to go to No Such Pub/Bar. That's a really fun name for a place. I want to go to No Such Pub/Bar. It would be cool to live next to that. Whereas if we find out where this is, it's on Burley Road, Anlaby, HU10, 7, I'll just type in HU10. Whereas if, by comparison, obviously different lifestyles, people want different things. But if we look at this postcode, it's a very weird postcode. Do you see that? It's got a gap in it. Anyway, if you look at this place, your options are the Yorkshire Hearing Centre, which is a hospital of some form, which is great if you have hearing issues. You could probably go down the street to Darley's. How long would that take you to get there? You could drive in 2 minutes, but it's a pub, so you walk in 16. Honestly, that's better than I was assuming. And then if you want to go the other way, about 10 minutes you get to a coffee shop, and then there's even a grocery store. It's only 10 minutes away. This is a surprisingly good place for the location. And so you might say, honestly, I would take that if it meant that I had way more space. I would love to have this much space. Just let's look at the front of the house again. That tells you way more than any of this does. I would rather have this much space, or this much space perhaps. Look at that. That is amazing when you compare it to this. Also, this is a whole second floor to it, whereas this is just this. But here's the thing about money in houses that I feel like it's really hard to talk to people about because people just look at this amount and go, oh my god, I can never afford that, life is crazy, blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing about houses and money, and I'm going to do this using Paint, except because I'm on my laptop and I can't show Paint easily, I found an MS Paint website that I can show you instead. So here is the there's 4 ways in which people buy houses. There's kind of 4 phases to think about this, because it used to be, £450,000. No one has 455. Wait, let me see how much I've got in my pocket. I've got right here for you. I've got something like I'm doing pretty well today. I have about $200 in my wallet. Can you show money? Are you gonna get my serial numbers cancelled? Anyway, so I've got about $200 in my wallet. I'm doing pretty well today. I'm in Vegas. It's a very cash-driven city, but I can't afford this with that amount of money. Even if you take all my bank accounts and all my blah 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 blah, I don't have that amount of money. But yet, I imagine someone in a similar situation, if you take the average person, might be able to get this place. I can't. I already own a property. It's a whole thing. It's a very nightmarish situation. But you can get this without having that amount of money. In fact, you don't even need to have most that amount of money because we live in a weird world of finance. And let's go through the phases to explain this. Because phase 1 of buying things, and this includes houses for a while, is how much money. Okay, so imagine you are man A over here, and you'd like to buy your house from man B over here. So you just have to give him the right amount of money. Is that 7 money? Yes, he wants 7 money. Oh wait, that's not 7. Does that look like a 7 to you? He wants 7 money in exchange for you. He'll give you his house if you give him 7 money. Easy, we're all good. This is the economy that most things exist in. When you want something, you buy it using the money that you have. But the second phase of this is like, I really want this, but he wants 7 money and I don't have 7 money. Or maybe he wants 9 money. Actually, let's just say he wants 70 money. And I definitely don't have 70 money right now. So what do? We involve a third party in the transaction, right? So if he wants to get his 70 money, he's going to have to go way over here, and we're going to need to involve a bank in the middle. So I don't know how to represent a bank. Is that a bank? If I put a B on it, it becomes a bank, right? There we go. So you're going to have to involve a bank in the space. So you're going to have to give them some amount of money, and then they're going to get, it's going to be orange for money, right? You have to give them some amount of money, as well as some guarantees. So you give them a piece of paper as well. There you go. You give them a piece of paper and you give them some money, and then they will give 70 money to the buyer, and then eventually you'll pay them back that 70, and I think 72 is what this looks like. Whatever. They give 72 money to the buyer, and you're going to give them 72 money over time. And this is a good thing for you because now you can afford more expensive houses. Although in reality, maybe it's a good thing for the seller because they can get more money because people can afford more. It kind of works in both ways, and you can argue about who it benefits more. I would make a definitive argument that house prices can only be so high because we all have access to credit to pay that off over 30 years. Look at the prices on this mortgage, by the way. I don't know what it's going to be, but I know it's going to make me sad. If you wanted to buy this lovely place and your deposit is the $200 you've got in your pocket. A few lenders offer that. It's fine. We'll just ignore that. It's going to cost me about £2,836 a month. Every month for 30 years. Oh, for 25 years. If we push that to 30 years, £2,665. Wait, I don't know why it's 29. £2,665 every single month for 30 years, and then I can have this place. So in effect, instead of giving him 2 money now, I give the bank 2 money, 2,665 money for the rest of the time. And this is like step 1, right? Like the house of the price can increase because now buyers have access to more money, but then this means that buyers can have access to more properties as well. It kind of can work both ways. Depends on how you want to see market dynamics here. But then the third step in this is where it gets a little bit more than just like, oh, now buyers can spend more. There's now the next level of okay, what is a property worth depends on how much people can make living there. Because for the bank to get their, a document from you confirming you'll pay for 30 years, and for them to get their money from you, they need to guarantee that you can make a certain amount of money from your employer, right? And so your employer looks like, I don't know, your employer also lives in a big black building. Your employer lives in an office tower. There we go. He lives in the Twin Towers. Don't tell him what's going to happen. And so if you have to go work in these offices so that you can get that piece of paper with the guarantee that you will earn that amount of money for 30 years. This is your employer giving you that. Your employer gives you the money as well, if we're being totally honest. This looks like an exclamation mark, but let's ignore that. And then you take that money to the bank. The bank is blue now, okay? That's there we go. You take that money to the bank from your employer, and then they can give the money to the thing. And because you get a certain salary, you get now this means that if you're in a really high income city, you can get because it's like 4.5 times your salary is what a bank will lend you to buy a house. Now you can spend way more. Instead of 72 money, now you can do 172 money. Yeah, look at that. You can give the man 172 money for his house. He will now move out much easier. He's getting more money. You can buy bigger places. And so in cities where earnings are high, again, look at this. Look at London. It's like on a yellow to purple scale. London is red and purple because this is where people have the highest earnings. Even though this house is much nicer for the same money. And honestly, as we kind of looked on a map right here, I wouldn't mind walking 16 minutes because there's a subway there too. Get a subway, go for a drink. What more do you need in your life? You might even, okay, I don't know what I'm doing at this point. Let's say you want to go to the local East Riding Leisure Hampton Price. What the heck is an East Riding? Let's find that out right now. It's a leisure centre. It's not a coffee shop. There is the Lounge South Ella, which is a restaurant. And then there's the Beech Tree, which is another pub. Wow, 2 pubs within 16 minutes. And then there's the Crofters, which might sell you a coffee. I feel like they might give you I don't understand the situation here. We'll ignore you getting a coffee because, you don't need a coffee. You live in Yorkshire, but you can get South Indian, the tea and biscuit. So this place is even quite nice, even by the standards of city dwellers, you might say. I mean, in reality, 15 minutes is pretty dire. But having a woods behind your house is really cool, right? It's a national forest. A national forest behind your house. That's really cool. And then you can just I don't know, drive into the city. I mean, you can't do anything else. It's not like you're gonna get a bus into the city. You drive into the city, and then you got like a McDonald's, and this isn't the city. You drive into the city, and then you got like all the stuff you want, a B&Q and a Starbucks. I mean, you can live the dream really out here. But there's one crucial difference that makes this less expensive than this, and that is that people who live here can therefore live closer to big employers. I mean, I'm sure the Deep pays people well, and I'm sure Nibble and, there's a cool area of Hull. I should go to Hull rather than just making fun of it. But, here's the city centre. Any of these places will likely pay you less than, let's not use London again, but, let's just use this as a nice, great example. Edinburgh is, looking pretty purple there. Whereas if you live in Edinburgh instead, the jobs here will pay you much better. Wow, is that politics I see right there? Politics has a lot of money. They have near infinite amounts because they have access to the money printing funds, and it's more complex than that. But politics will pay you well, is my point. There's what's this? Is there a chocolatarium with tourist money coming in? Ooh, do they have an airport? Ooh, I bet the airport pays well. Ooh, they've got all these specialized jobs which you would not find in Hull, but you might find in Edinburgh, or maybe you might even find in Birmingham, or you might even, to go crazy, find that in London. I use the skyscrapers as my example here. If you just I don't know, zoom in, pick a random place, right? Okay, let's try that again. You pick a random place around here. No street view for me apparently. What's that? Are there probably people in there who give you a lot of money to make some questionably ethical decisions for their company? I bet they might do. And so you can make more money if you live in a bigger office tower than if your office, you can make more money working for the bank. You also get better mortgage deals, so that's a whole separate point. And so this is the third layer, right? You make money based on what it's there for. And so now the fourth layer is where things get a lot more controversial, because most people agree that, even though I would like the other world where you could somehow ban financing your houses, the only way to buy something is with money you have, you could massively lower house prices, but a lot of people need to finance that sort of stuff. Then no one is ever going to be able to save up £450,000 or £449,995, so you need to finance these purchases, right? You need to use money from the bank to do so, and it makes sense that the bank is going to give more money to people who earn more because they're going to have more money to pay off the loan. But the bit where people kind of get messed up is step number 4, which is what's happening right now, the kind of readjustment we've seen for the last few years, which is not to say a house is worth what you will pay for it based on the jobs that are available to you. That house, because bear in mind, that house not only allows you, it's not that you use your income to buy the house allows you to make your income. If you don't have somewhere to sleep, you can't work in the big tower, the Bank of America. You can't work for Bank of America if you don't have a home. They don't accept homeless people, and so you need to have somewhere to live. And maybe this is the only option. It's the cheapest one available, and so everyone has to live somewhere. And so there's kind of a requirement to have the house at the end to have the job. It's like a cyclical thing. But here's where it gets kind of messy. Step 4 is if we go, what if instead of you giving the man the money for the house, or you giving the man, let's just copy paste the last step here actually. What if instead of you using your money to buy the house, okay, so let's just move it way over here. What if instead of using your money to get the job, to do the bank, to get the house that you want for all your dreams, what if instead I didn't want to move it, I wanted to copy it. Let's try that again. Also, I drew outside the lines, I messed up myself here. Okay, what if you wanted to instead use that house as let's say that there was a big cultural myth about how buying houses is a real safe way to make an investment. Well, now your investment would be based on not what you could get for a job that you can work somewhere near it, but instead, wherever there are jobs, in the same way that if you have the bank's building, right? If they can make $1 million a year from renting this building, then they would probably pay up to $900,000 a year to keep that, assuming there's no equivalent place they can move to. But you can push them as high as they can go if they know that is the best way to do. Think about commercial rents. Asda will never pay you more than they make for renting a place, but they might pay you somewhere close if you're the best option in town. The same is true for HSBC. And let's say we apply that to people. So now you could rent your house. So you demand, you demand money from this man, and then he's going to give you that money. Let's just say it's one money every single month, and then you can use that money to buy the place. You can skip all of this process, except we're gonna have to rub this whole place out. You can skip this whole process. You can get the man to prove that he has income to pay your rent, and then you can use your rent as that income to prove that you can buy the place. And then that means that the house price is not based on the, I'm keep drawing. Oh no, it's all gone. Okay, so I don't know. This is very strange, but that would mean that the house price is now not based on what you can borrow from the bank. It's not based on what job you can get so you can borrow more money from the bank. It's based on what other people can borrow from the bank, what other people can get for a job so that they can pay you money to do the same. If someone earns $100,000 a year and you charge them $50,000 a year to rent your place that's very convenient and allows them to get to their job, they'd accept that. They might also accept $55,000 a year. They might accept $60,000. They might accept, and there's a limit at which people will reach, which isn't 99%. If you say if you want to work anywhere within an hour radius of this place, it's going to cost you 90% of your money. People move further out. People will move further and further and further and further. There's a lot of dynamics to the housing market because in reality, this one-bedroom place is not the only place you can live and live. It's not even very close to this. This is a terrible example. But in reality, there are so many of these places, and if there's a lot of people earning a lot of money in the area, which there is, then you can make a lot of money renting to someone in that category, and then this is what this becomes. And so that is the reason you're going to see some amount of house pricing drop, as not because people are earning less money, although relatively speaking, that is definitely happening. Inflation has gone up, etc., etc. But interest rates are rising. If you're a landlord and your whole plan is to rent this place out at $2,665 a month, maybe when your interest rate goes up 1%, and now you're making $2,600, but it costs you $2,955. You're now making a loss in your business, and there's a lot of real fun ways this is going to go. But yeah, it's just a fun reminder that this is the way the housing market works. It's not based on what you're willing to pay for a place. It's not based on what you could borrow to pay for a place. It's based on what you can earn, and therefore what everyone else in your area can earn, because either they can pay for the place directly, like in step 3, or they can rent the place from someone who pays for the place using the money that they earn in step 4. Is that okay? I'm not here to make a moral judgment. I'm just here because I think that money philosophy is a very important thing. Changing the way that you think is something that is very valuable. And so that's why I'm going to be doing a small series of shorts here on this channel, just talking about finances, because I think it is a really hard thing to get into your brain. But once you understand that it's not this, and it's really barely even this, and it's sometimes this or this, you can understand better that, maybe I should live somewhere. But, if you can have the same quality of job, but somewhere, same paying of job, somewhere better, then you can do financially better. Maybe you should live somewhere else. If you can do, if other people can do the same, maybe they can go somewhere else. And there's a valuable way of learning that house prices aren't entirely irrational. It's just that salary prices are going up, and also what people are willing to pay is going up as more and more people are existing in the place where fewer and fewer people are. Basically, everything can be explained with complicated enough, if lots of people want something, the price goes up, and if not many people want something, the price goes down. But yeah, that shouldn't be surprising. Just for fun here though, before we end this video, because I'm about to go walk to the airport now. It's gonna be a whole thing. It looks kind of cold outside, so instead let's procrastinate and let's just look up what can you buy for £100,000 in Kingston. You can buy this attractively priced property from a motivated seller. You can buy a plot of land. You can buy a Muse apartment. You can buy a first floor apartment. Let's go for lowest price first. I don't know what's going to come up, but if you want to live in Kingston upon Hull, honestly, this seems pretty good. £55,000 for a 2-bed terraced house. If we just ignore, okay, it looks like it has some damp issues and some other issues, and oh my gosh, okay, yeah, this is fine. I mean, it's not bad, right? It's not terrible. Yeah, this is fine. This for £55,000 Instead of if you have if you have a job that can go remote, right? Or you have a job that you don't mind doing somewhere else and someone will pay you the same amount for, why wouldn't you live here? Bro, like, it's basically the same. I can't spot the difference between these places, honestly. If you can, I'd be shocked. But honestly, I'm pretty impressed with it. Like, if you're willing to spend some money to make it look nice. Oh, look at this. Okay, that's an auction. Let's find something that's not an auction. Let's find... Yeah, I think all of these are going to be auctions, actually. Okay, this is a flat for 41,000. This is a fairer comparison, right? Okay, £41,000. You live in what looks like a ex-council building, maybe current council building, and it looks like someone might have died here based on the decor. You know what? This is nice, though. This is real nice. Like, look at this. Look at this. It's the same quality, right? And this costs you literally 1/10 as much. And master, I even, just for fun here, so will it give us an address? It won't. It just says Great Thornton Street. This is pretty conveniently located for the train station. Yeah, look at this. You have, not only do you have Lily's Meals, you have Costa if you like your coffee, and then you got the whole train station, and you got a Weatherspoons on your street, and it's $56. I'm in America, right? I was wondering why I was saying dollars. $56 a night for a hotel that close to your apartment. You get a veterinary, you get Kunafa. You ever want a religious bookstore? Oh gosh, this is. But yeah, it's an interesting thing to me. It's interesting that again, it seems crazy because even though okay, this isn't a place I'd actually want to live, but I bet if you do go, I don't know, for most expensive, spending £100,000 here seemed like a really good decision, and a lot of people make this like cool to themselves, like eventually let's just go live somewhere else, right? Okay, this is probably a better looking terrace house. I would assume. It's 3-bedroom plus loft space. Oh yeah, look at this. On the inside, it's like actually nice. You could probably move in here and live relatively happy. Why would? Oh, actually, I like this bathroom. It's very odd. I don't think this is normal. But like they've converted the loft. They've got a it's nice, right? And I think a lot of people move through this, and it's like, well, you're not living where you live solely because you're not thinking financially purely all the time. But when you are living somewhere that has better access to things, that has better access to your friends and family and to money, you're making a financial decision. You just don't know you're making it. You might think the house prices are this, but they are this. And just because you don't know it's this, it doesn't mean it's not. And maybe that's a valuable thing for life. Maybe it's not. Either way, I hope you all enjoyed the video. And I'm going to go walk to the airport now. Maybe you'll see that. Goodbye.